Hello, my name is Lyra Snook. This is Lyra's Nook, and today we are going to talk about a recap of the last episode of the Constellation Revolution. So the Constellation Revolution just posted episode 0 of our podcast, and I am going to kind of run back what happened to prep you for next week's episode. Episode starts, all 3 of our characters are hanging upside down in a damp, dark dungeon. So while we don't know why we're hanging upside down in a dungeon, what we do know is that some of us might be more responsible than others due to previous occurrences. The gang takes a trip down memory lane to kind of figure this out. First, we start talking about the time that Lionel and Promise tried to steal a certain magical artifact that Crash created to play a prank on Regina, his society's kind of leader. Promise stages a little distraction by starting a riot outside, and then that gives Lionel the time to run inside the dorm and try to steal this. Little does Lionel know that he's going to run into Crash, and they're going to have a little bit of a tiff. Thankfully for Lionel, Crash is a little bit distracted by his conversation about American car brands versus European car brands with one of his society members. So Lionel is able to steal this artifact, not realizing it's already been used, and then try to sneak out. Crash discovers Lionel right away, because it's Lionel, they're enemies, duh. Here's the clip.
Your breast pocket is glowing bright blue, and the two of you stop, lock eyes, you holding the artifact of his particular society, and for a second there's silence.
What you got there? Tits. Fun. Anyways, so Lionel gets the artifact, right? But Crash already used it. We find out what happens. Crash has dyed Regina's hair bright blue for the first day of school. Next, we dive into the time that Crash and Promise had a bit of a duel. It was sanctioned, don't worry, by Lionel himself, but things got a little bit out of hand. Here's the clip.
So for this one, I was thinking I was just like a little hammer, just like
You
like,
effectively throw a hammer with like the force of like a t-shirt gun at a stadium.
Yeah. I'm not gonna kill her.
Anyways, Lionel immediately ends the duel, is like, oh my god, this is crazy, you could have killed my sister, Promise. And Crash is like, literally, no, I just gave her a haircut, she looks so much better this way, slay. But either way, Lionel locks Crash up and is like, you're arrested, you almost killed my sister, blah 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 blah. Lame. Now finally, the gang is remembering the time that Promise and Lionel crashed Crash's car, his baby, his love, the joy of his life. So because Lionel locked up Crash after that duel, Crash decides to kidnap Lionel, right? Because duh. And then Crash and Promise are on like a little joyride in Crash's beautiful car. We love it, it's so good. But then they might have heard Lionel kind of like screaming from the trunk for help. And Promise, being Promise, decided to let them out, not knowing it was Lionel. And then Lionel gets upset because Lionel was stuck in a trunk, and it's like, oh my god, why are you in the trunk? Yada yada yada. Lionel freaks out, gets in a fight with Crash. Then Lionel has the grand idea to cast a spell on the road in front of them. Here's the clip.
You cast friction more for a mile ahead of you, and immediately the tires lock up. But because the speed at which you are driving, that momentum's got to go somewhere. The car instantly starts to go forward. The back half has not gotten the message that they're supposed to be stopping. The 3 of you find yourselves being thrown forward from the car as though it were some sort of demented catapult.
Yeah, great idea. So now Crash's car is crashed. Crash is completely heartbroken, as you would be. And Lionel's friends from their previous lifetimes decide to hit him up and save them all from actually being hurt, which, like, yay, okay, go ahead, slay. But Crash's car is still crashed. It's torn up, it's kaput, it's done. Lionel and Promise just piece out of there. Just are like, in my opinion, and in Crash's opinion, it's not his fault. So not his fault, totally couldn't be his fault as to why they're hanging up here. Then we discover, we like drop down from the chains or whatever, slay, great, but who other than Caradoc comes in and is like, oh, I'm Caradoc, I'm spooky, blah 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 blah, you got away last time, you won't again. So if you want to see what Caradoc is talking about, stay tuned for the next episode because it's about to be crazy. It's insane. I don't know about you, but I'm really excited to see what happens because he's spooky and good and wonderful and fantastic. Even though we hate him. So, slay. Thank you for joining me in Lyra's Nook with Lyra Snook for your weekly recap. See ya.